wait, it's
Thursday
59.
evening, doggy. Thursday evening.
It's not there yet. It's not there
Thursday
yet.
evening.
Okay,
Are we there?
we're live. This is where the numbers come up when people are watching. Okay,
Is it live?
Until
We're
there's
live.
until there's an eye with a person who
We're waiting.
patiently. Right,
Oh,
here we are.
Somebody's there.
Here we are. It's Thursday evening. Must be bang on 7 o'clock.
And we're in blue tonight to
Blue.
match the colour of the
Beautiful
sky.
sky.
Why should
Beautiful sky.
Hi everyone! Here we are again, Hannibal Brown Wines, live streaming from Wimbledon.
And the back
little
garden this
backyard.
time.
Yeah.
Thought it's nice weather. Let's come
Yeah.
and enjoy the sunshine.
We got our hats on, little Hannibal hats.
Hi, Alice.
First time out this year. Unfortunately, because of all of our events have been cancelled or let's say postponed, we haven't got to wear them. So
And also, let's face it, we've got the corona hair.
we have got the corona
So,
hair issue going on.
Yeah,
Day
that's,
what?
Who knows, but at least 3 weeks overdue from a haircut, I'd say.
Day something. Oh, hello, Finn.
So welcome everyone. Just a quick intro. We are Hannibal Brown. I'm Jude.
And I'm Pamela.
This is Finn.
Finn McCool, our little
Good
gentle
boy.
giant.
He's stepped it up a notch today. He's usually on the stool behind us, but now he's at human level, which he much rathers.
For all you who think he's so well behaved, he wasn't well behaved today. He had the bread, didn't you? Didn't you, big fatty? Hey ho. never mind.
We're just going to hang on for a little bit for a few more to join. Hi Sam, joining us, and Phil, welcome, and so that'll be Phil and Rachel, I'd say as well.
Yeah, Rachel True, welcome, welcome.
Samantha Jones just finishing off the food. Excellent work. Ours in the oven. We had a slight shortfall in the local supermarket offerings, so we've improvised. But that's what it's all about these times, isn't it?
Yeah.
Improvisation.
Yeah, actually, and that is a really important thing because we've got to keep really safe because we need to keep Hannibal Brown moving and carrying on throughout this dilemma.
Serving the nation their wine.
And I noticed today in the high street there were bags and bags of queues everywhere, and we're not going to queue. So, which means that we're a bit short of some certain food articles,
but not wine. So that's the beauty of it.
We've got
so,
wine.
as some of you know, we've been doing these tastings on a Thursday evening.
Excuse
two
me.
new wines. Oops. Two new wines each time. Just something a little bit different and something which we think, well, wines that we think are pretty fabulous. That's not one of them, I hasten to add. That's a Finn special. He needs to have a drink too. So, the first wine, so we can all have a little...
Finished?
The first one we're going to be tasting this evening, and I hope some, if not lots of you have got it, is our lovely Jordan barrel fermented Chardonnay. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this while Pam gives you an update on
because my glass is proper empty.
The wine world and where we're at with the effect of this weird situation on our industry.
So the updates, and it's actually quite relevant to South Africa. The Jordan estate is in Stellenbosch, just outside Stellenbosch, in the foothills of Stellenbosch, out in South Africa. But sadly, South Africa 2 days ago announced that they are not going to export anything as far as wine is concerned. So there are no wine exports. There's a ban on all wine exports from South Africa at the moment. It's the only country that's doing this. They're not happy. We're not happy. They're trying to change things, but unfortunately, the way that South Africa is set up is that there's an awful lot of workers in there who are coming out of the townships, working in the vineyards, working in the wineries, and to be honest, it's just too dangerous. Mm-hmm. So they've said, no, that's it for the time being. So what we've got is what we've got. So we'll keep it going for as possible for as long as we can.
There's no shortage, so obviously we don't want to encourage panic buying in any way. However, it's interesting to see what happens. I mean, actually,
I tell you, if anybody buys wine like toilet rolls, I'd be very happy.
Yeah. We'll be sitting on our own cruise ship. But also another mention for South Africa. I mean, my sister and her family live out there, and they're in I think it might be week 2 of not even being able to buy alcohol. So there's no alcohol sales in the whole country, which is probably doing the nation an awful lot of good, but not the industry.
Yeah, they're going to be super fit, but that's about it.
That's the way it
anyway,
goes.
so the updates are, so South Africa, that's it. So what we have is what we have, and we do have a big range of South African wine, so don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to hear more about South African wine, tune in on Sunday at 6 o'clock. So because we're going to do a big old talk about the South African wine industry, where it came from, post-apartheid, all that stuff. It's going to be quite interesting. Aside from that, we've got a few out of stocks. Monsieur La Barbe, which is our lovely, lovely Merlot down from the south of France. That's out of stock at the moment, but we're hoping to get some more in sometime in May. The good news is, though, is that all of our rosés, and it is the rosé season, are proper well stocked up. So
ready.
we'll probably have a glass of rosé on Sunday evening.
Now, it'd be really good to know if people have the wines that we're drinking this evening, and if not, what they're drinking, and if they're eating anything to go with it. It's all about wine and food pairing, and getting really good combinations and enjoying the two. So we can't enjoy anything else.
Yeah. So this evening, as Jude said, we've chosen the Jordan Estate barrel fermented Chardonnay. So the key is in the barrel ferment. Now, there's lots of people out there in the world who go, ooh, ABC, anything but Chardonnay. And it's a bit of a travesty. If you ask anybody in the wine industry which grape produces the best white wine, they will all say Chardonnay. Few of them might say Riesling, but it is by and large Chardonnay and Riesling. And the reason that Chardonnay gets such a bad name is that for a long time, and particularly, hope there's no Australians out there, and South Africans to a degree, they made the wine with too much oak. So they got too much extract from the oak, and it made it heavy and rich and just, and also they fermented it to a very high level of alcohol, so like 14, 15 degrees. We don't want that. We don't want that. Times have changed as well, and they're not producing wines like that, or certainly if you drink decent wine from HannibalBrown.com. So these dudes, the Jordan Winery, Gary Jordan, he's a clever chappy. He doesn't want too much oak in his wine, and he wants his wines to taste kind of limey, so you should get a little bit of lime in there.
So get your nose in there first
of all. Get your nose in there, give it a good swirl. Yeah.
Give it a good swirl, open it up, get lots of aromas going. It's not just a Ponzi thing to do, it's actually genuinely does release all the aromas, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and it already is. But you should get a little bit of butteriness. So Chardonnay with butteriness is so much more attractive, and that's why we have put it with.
Oh, I should go and get it.
You should go and get it.
Back in a mo.
Poor old Jude. She's having a hard time at the moment, but hopefully a little canapé is going to appear, and it's going to be these wild mushrooms with a little truffle oil and a drop of Parmesan seasoning to stick on the top on a toast.
Here we are. So we've had to improvise the crostini because we simply couldn't get a really nice baguette. So this is actually like a rye pumpernickel, lovely little bread, but it's got the melted Parmesan, it's got the truffle oil. And the reason this goes so well with the Chardonnay is the Chardonnay is quite a big wine, so it needs some food with it. And also the mushrooms have kind of an earthiness, especially these shiitake mushrooms, they've got a kind of real flavour to them. Also the truffle oil, nice big pungent flavour, and it all those big flavours with a big flavoured wine actually all mellows. And suddenly you've got this lovely, match made in heaven. So
and so remember the matches are always the same. So big wine, big food. Big flavoured wines, big flavoured food. Light wines, light food. Acidic wines, acidic food. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. I wouldn't mind. Thank you very much indeed. Somebody else wants one of these. So whilst I taste these.
Whilst you taste these, I'm gonna put a question out there and ask, is there anyone who's listening who categorically does not like Chardonnay?
Come on.
I'd be really interested to know because we're constantly trying to re-educate people. Don't worry, the dog will have that bit afterwards. We're constantly trying not re-educate people, just to get people to try things that they perhaps think that they really don't like. Because actually these days, all sorts of different wines are coming into their own. Like Riesling, you've mentioned Riesling. We'll do a Riesling actually. I love Riesling. But people think Blue Nun, Liebfraumilch, sweetie, 70s kind of drinks that then is pretty grim. So it's understandable to have that preconception, but it's no more. It's no more.
So anybody who gets the opportunity to go to South Africa anytime in the next 10 years, try and get yourself down to Jordan. They've got a lovely, lovely restaurant, beautiful restaurant. You can stay there, although you have to book in advance. It's uber expensive, but it's worth it. The only sad thing is they haven't got a swimming pool, but there you go. There you go.
But what they do have, actually, on a water front, is they have 2 or 3 of their own natural water sources. So South Africa struggles with drought, like every year, all year. And if you can actually be self-sufficient, it's so much more environmentally friendly, because although vines don't need a lot of water, you know, they don't live in the desert, do they? They need some irrigation, especially in really hot countries.
A little bit of drip feed, just like your tomatoes. Just like tomatoes.
Although I always think they need more water than Pam does. So we'll never agree on that one.
So, Jordan Estate, barrel fermented Chardonnay. It's on the system. It's normally $18.95, so it's not a cheap wine, but Chardonnay, decent Chardonnay is never going to be cheap. But it's on offer at the moment at $18.25. Woo! Bargain. Here you go. Really bargain. Woo! But anybody who knows the wine industry, it's bloody difficult to make money out of wine, and there's very little space in the margins.
So how do you think, I mean, this is a £18 bottle of wine. How do you think it compares to a Burgundy of the same price, for example?
Well, that is a good question in actual fact, because we have another really good buttery Chardonnay from Philip Shaw. It's called The Architect. Some of you may have come across it. It's on the website, hannibalbrown.com. And that chappie, Philip Shaw, consistently, or used to, he doesn't do it anymore, he used to submit his wines into Burgundian tastings. Now, Philip Shaw is made in Australia in a very Burgundian style. And when I say that, it's lighter, it's fresher, it's softer, it's not too much oak, it's not like the big, heavy Australian wines. And over and over and over again, his wine was beating some of the top Burgundian wines. But here's the thing, the difference in price. Philip Shaw Architect, I think, is $15.99, quite a lot of money. But when you consider he was up against €100 bottles of Burgundian Chardonnay, or Meursault, Chablis, etc., etc., he was getting pretty browned off in actual fact and stopped doing it because he just felt that they were overstated, overpriced. And you do pay an awful lot of money for Burgundy. If you know where to go in Burgundy, fine, but you can get burnt, so be careful.
Yeah, fair comment. And actually, just looking at, speaking of comments, it's nice to see that quite a few people have got the combination going on here. So Alice, Luke, they've all got the mushrooms and wine poised. Gemma and Ross have a mushroom risotto, also good, still got that earthiness, so hopefully that should be a really lovely combination. Sam has had the Aussie Chardonnay that we described, and obviously she is a believer now.
Is she Australian?
No, Sam. Epsom Hockey Club, unsurprisingly, have said they'll try most wines, even including Chardonnay, which is a fair point. You know, you expect that from a hockey club.
Oh, there's another one, Pennywoods. Ooh, love The Architect.
There you go.
Hands up for Philip Shaw Architect. So, 2 wines, Chardonnay lovers or Chardonnay non-lovers, try them. Jordan Estate and Philip Shaw Architect. Right.
Well, hang on a minute.
Sorry.
I think it's time for WALKIES. So, mushrooms, Chardonnay, combination made in heaven. Another little tip I think goes really well is chicken-based recipes. Roast chicken. You know, that again, it's got that kind of rich unctuousness that will balance out really nicely with the Chardonnay.
Or in a creamy sauce of some sort like that.
Yeah. So, you know, and if mushrooms ever run out, let's hope chickens don't. Our neighbours have got some, so we should be all right.
Okay, so I have got a question for you. So anybody who tuned in on Sunday evening last week, you will have heard us ask the question, which country consumes the most wine per capita? And I want to know tonight, which country actually overall consumes the most wine? Okay. Leave that one with you.
Volume.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question. Are we going to have to throw this in the garden?
Absolutely not. I like the fact that Michelle Clark is on her second glass and she's pairing it perfectly with popcorn.
Oh Well, you know.
Why not?
Why not? Right, now I'm just moving over here.
Okay.
To grab my next bottle.
Our new arrangement is kind of a little bit more clunky than the internal option, but it's nice to be outside.
Oh, no, I haven't got my decanter.
I'll get the decanter.
Okay. So, moving swiftly on, we're coming to the Casas del Bosque Carmenere. Lots to talk about this winery, but actually, mostly about the country. So whilst I open it...
And it's good to see that Phil and Rachel have got the Casas del Bosque. It's, this particular producer have been one of our favourites since we first launched the business in 2012. They have been brilliant, non-stop brilliant. We do 4 or 5 of their wines. They're all single varietal wines, which means it's a Carmenere, it's a Chardonnay, it's a Sauvignon Blanc. It's not a blend of a number of different grapes.
No.
It doesn't mean anything apart from the fact they're really trying to showcase the character of that particular grape variety.
Correct. Now, Carmenere, some of you will have heard of it, some of you won't have heard of it. It's, if you think Carmenere is to Chile what Malbec is to Argentina. So if you like Malbec, you will love Carmenere. They're 2 old grape varieties that hail from the southwest corner of France. And I'm just popping a bit in the decanter because this wine needs a little bit of air. In fact, when I say a little bit of air, I mean a lot of air. So don't be afraid to squish it around with gusto. Huh?
And whilst you're squishing and not giving it to the dog, John Boyd's come in and gone straight in for Vatican City, but that was last week. That was per capita.
Keep up, John Boyd.
We're talking literally in the entire consumption.
Which country consumes the most wine?
Per capita, basically.
Yep.
So if it was the Vatican, and let's say the Vatican were consuming more wine than the entirety of, let's say, the UK, it would still be a bit of a miracle because it is only dinky.
Yeah.
So good guess, but it's last week's answer, so keep them coming.
The clue is which country, actually, well, not so much a clue, which country consumes the least wine?
Ooh.
Probably the one that you mentioned. Oh, no, that's
possibly the least wine, non-certified guessing. I like the fact that Fenella has actually got the Chardonnay with the Thai green curry, which is quite an interesting option, which I would never have gone for. But again, big flavours.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Wine, food, wine. That's the only way to find out.
Absolutely. So the reason for popping this in the decanter is to give it lots of air. It's a big wine and it needs to expand and sort of flex its muscles. Any wine that's been locked down in a bottle is a little bit like being locked down in a house. Reverence.
Very good.
You need to get out there, stretch your muscles, open the windows, and you'll feel a lot better for it, obviously, as we know. So we're just decanting it, opening it out, releasing the aromas, and here we go.
Oh, I feel like it's going to end up on my lap. There we go.
So what we're expecting out of this wine is some massive character. Lots and lots of juicy blackcurrant, almost blackberry, actually, more berry rather than currant. And it's got a bit of a boom that hits you nice. So, big wine needs big food. And
right, food. Hang on. Back in a moment. Keep
drum roll.
Going. I might be a moment.
She's gone again.
Now, a fundamental part of this particular canapé is short in this household.
There's a reason for it.
Well, it is what it is. But so we
left
just
it in the
have
office.
the potato element, which Finn's very happy about.
So this is supposed to be a roast dinner, isn't it?
So this is the potato, and these are lovely little cups to have your canapés in. You can put anything in them. I often do like patatas bravas, and you can have a paprika-y tomato sauce in there.
They're beautiful. Look at them. There.
Ooh,
so
I like
the recipe.
Sam has added beetroot and balsamic salsa to it, which should be really good because it just really enriches it.
Yeah.
And with the wine, again, should be a really great combination. So I will have this combo, which is just a potato.
I won't have that because I can't stand potatoes. Maybe the dog gets it. Can he eat potato?
Well, he looks like he's up for it.
Okay, well, the recipes are on the website if you haven't seen them already, but by and large it's supposed to have a lovely bit of fillet steak in it, topped with...
Sorry, I was just laughing at Jane's comment about having a lovely view of Finn's bits. We should really
just steady.
You know, preserve his what do you call it? Dignity.
His dignity. Topped with a bit of...
So you'd have your steak in there, you'd have a little bit of horseradish, and again the steak with lots of salt and pepper. Sorry guys, you're just going to have to look at it and avert your eyes because the hair's too bad to not wear the hat. Raymond's in. Cheers, Raymond. And Kerry's just joined. In fact, Luke just took a... Sorry.
Evening, everybody.
Zooming back to the comments. Luke took a pot guess at the who drinks the most wine.
Yes! Well done, Lucas Pucas.
So,
still want to know where that name Portnow comes from.
The USA, obviously, it's a massive country.
Yeah.
So they are the biggest consumers in the world.
They are. Anybody who could guess China, well, they're big as well, but not nearly as big as the US. And going back to the Vatican, sorry John, just to keep banging on about your guess. Imagine if the Vatican City drank more wine in a year than the United States. I think it's somewhere we need to set up shop quickly. Right, so just going back to these guys, Casas del Bosque, they're in Santiago, just outside Santiago, in a place called Casa for anybody who's Chile. They work organically, so their wines are always clean as a whistle. They look after their land, so they hardly till the land. They leave it. They don't use too much water in the wine cleaning and this, that, and the other. They're just very, very considerate, and they really look after their staff. And we just love them, and that's all there is to it. And as Jude said, we've been following these guys since day one of Hannibal Brown, which was 1st of November 2012.
Long time ago now.
And they do a Cabernet Sauvignon as well, which is really lovely. They do a Sauvignon Blanc, which is proper punchy, if you like punchy Sauvignons. We have their Pinot Noir, and we have their Grand Syrah, which is this guy's big brother. If you like massive wines, you'll like this, but you'll really like the Syrah.
So I just need to go back and correct we've given Luke all of the credit for guessing the right answer first, but actually Epsom got in there first. So well done Epsom, and well done Luke for owning up.
Good old Epsom. The Billy Bargain price of this is $13.99. Now I know it's not under a tenner, but for what you're getting here, fabulous wine. And the great thing about Chilean wines is that they really don't have to use very much chemical intervention. As I said, this one's produced organically, so there is no chemical intervention. But the whole country, actually, there was an article in the newspaper probably about 18 months ago, which said that actually, if Chile could ever sort of kind of get their whole act together, the whole country could be certified organic, because everything grows in abundance. It doesn't need any chemical intervention. And why is that?
Because actually we're going to hark back to last week. For those of you who are here, we talked about the bug that nearly decimated the entire world's vineyard crops, which was a bug called phylloxera. And actually I think that Luke might have got, I know it was Simon got that last week.
Okay, clever clog.
But that bug never really made it to Chile.
No.
And if you think about the geography of Chile, long little strip. Next week maybe we'll have a map to make this easier to imagine. But it's got on one side, it's got the mountains on the other side, it's got the Atacama Desert at the top.
Indeed.
So it's totally protected by natural barriers.
Yep.
And that little bug just wasn't intrepid enough to make it through to Chile.
Couldn't get over the Andes. I mean, let's face it, who could get over the Andes?
There's probably a out for next week. But yeah, so interestingly, it's a great variety that you just don't hear of from any other country these days. I mean, where did it originate?
Carmenere! Ooh, well, lovers of Bordeaux wine, Carmenere used to be one of the main grape varieties in Bordeaux wine. These days, it's like 80% Cabernet Sauvignon or Merlot, both of those to be honest, and there's maybe 2 or 3% of Carmenere and Malbec in a Bordeaux blend. But back in the day, it was all Carmenere.
Yeah.
And but it was affected by this nasty little bug, and it never really what's the word?
Took off?
No, it never really
recovered.
Mm. But some bright spark decided to pop a vine in his backpack and took it over to Chile, and another bright spark took the Malbec over to Argentina. And the two grape varieties have just found a much better space and are thriving. So that's the reason why Malbec is so big in Argentina, and Carmenere is the key ingredient of Chile.
I suppose it's kind of ironic because the same people back in the 1800s, in the mid 1800s, who were travelling around the world, the naturalists. I want to get it right. The naturalists are travelling around the world, taking plant specimens and what have you from one country to the other. I mean, they're the reason that phylloxera got to Europe and nearly killed the entirety of Europe's crops.
They did.
So, but they're also the reason that they saved Malbec and Carmenere and took them to a new home where they're thriving.
Yeah.
So Jem and Ross have said they're having the Carmenere with ribs, which I think is a brilliant combination.
Porky ribs or beef ribs, either will work.
Especially on the barbecue, because on the barbecue you get the smokiness.
Yeah.
And Carmenere has got a bit of a smokiness about its character, hasn't
it? It has. It's got strong tannins, which gives it dryness, but also gives it the potential to age. So this is a 2017 vintage. It's drinking nicely, but it will mature for probably 8 to 10 years. It's got that smokiness that's kind of like tobacco, but also that lovely fruit, which makes it just like so balanced. It's great.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Great. So $13.99. Look it up. What else have we got to say? Did anybody come back? Oh yes. So we've done why was Chile largely unaffected. What else? What else are we going to say?
Well, I'm kind of going to have another question here. So Carmenere was one of the Bordeaux grape varieties. As we've said, Malbec was out.
Yeah.
So here's a starter for 10. What are the other main Bordeaux red grape varieties? It's a bit of a tricky one. It's a tricky dismount. You won't be going. Okay, you just sit down. You'll be fine.
Give him a sweetie. Give him a sweetie.
It's so what? Over to you guys. What are the other main red grapes in Bordeaux? Okay, there's really two big players.
And I did just mention them.
Oh, did you? Okay, well, let's see if people were listening. So
were you listening?
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough. So
they're either all asleep or sloshed.
Left bank, right bank.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Have a little think. Two red grape varieties known as noble grape.
And whilst you're thinking about that, okay, we're still delivering every day up and down the country. We've got an order going off to Amsterdam, hopefully in the next few days. Our Northern Irish friends, anybody out in Northern Ireland? Yes, we're still delivering. I saw 2 aeroplanes today.
Hot off the press.
Yeah. Things are looking good.
So next week we're going to be doing we're going to the classics. So we've picked 2 really stunning wines for next week's tasting.
Yeah.
Okay. The white.
Well, just before you say that, actually, so these last wines, this is the last of the spring wine tasting. So this is episode 3. So we've done 6 wines. These 2, the 2 last week, which were Ripasso and something else I can't remember.
The
Albarino, and 2 others which I really can't remember. But they're all in the spring wine tasting case. So if you want to have a look at the spring wine tasting case and go online, have a look at the recipes, they're all there. But we're going to carry on because we might as well. Something else. And we're going to go on to classics for next week.
Okay, so the 2 wines that we're going to be tasting next week. You have this is the Henri Bourgeois Sauvignon Blanc. Okay, this Henri Bourgeois is a producer based in Sancerre. Now, on Sunday we talked about France and we talked about the mysteries of French wine, and we explained that Sancerre is not a brand, it's not a grape, it's not a producer, but is a place.
It's a dinky little village.
It's a village. So this wine is from that village, but is not officially a Sancerre, which means it doesn't have the big price. It's a real winner, actually.
Yeah. So it's $3.99. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Stop that now. But you know, a good Sancerre, you're going to be looking at 25 plus a bottle, easily. And then this is, you know, much less.
Well, I don't know.
It's around about £14, but I'll check that for next week. And then the red is going to be our lovely 1999 Rioja. So the Rioja is not produced as a reserva, but we'll talk about that next week.
21 years old.
21 years old. So it's a real stunner.
Ooh, Finn McCool! He's eating the potato.
Finn's just
eating it. Off you go, big boy. Here you go.
So really stunning wine. And again, for a wine of that age and that quality, the price tag is, you know, brilliant. It's £20 a bottle, which is quite frankly a bargain compared to what it would cost you if you were to buy it and cellar it and wait for all that time. So two really stunning wines. But it'd be really nice to know if you guys have any specific wines that you'd like to try next week. As we said, we're delivering. We've got no shortage of stock. Hang on, the dog's
here he comes.
Here he comes. Dog's coming in.
Here he comes.
There he is. Thanks, Luke, for spotting.
I know, he's the star of the show. There's no other reason to be here.
I'm going to get the canapé suggestions out for next week's wines tomorrow morning. So we'll pop it out on the website. We'll put it on Facebook. Give you plenty of time to get the ingredients together. It's just going to be like Dignity hiding here with my knee. And it actually, the Sam is just saying that Carmenere is one of her favourites, which I just love. But then maybe it is purely Casa del Bosque.
Here's the thing, Samantha Jones, you get good Carmenere, bad Carmenere, and you get really bad Carmenere. So, bit of a generalisation there, but...
Well, we only do the good stuff.
We only do the good stuff.
In fact, we only do one, because we only need one. There's no point in having a whole selection. It's great to see that Luke and Simon took the Rioja to New Zealand, which is quite a long old journey. But it went down a storm, which of course it did, because it's a real treat. It's really to be able to buy a wine with that much age. And we also have their 94 Grand Reserva, which is stunning as well.
Really?
It's a little bit more expensive, but you know, really worth every penny.
So all you Rioja lovers out there, we're going to bore off you about Rioja next week.
Yeah, differences between Reserva, Crianza, Joven.
Yawn, but yes, we will do that.
What does it all mean? But get ready, because we really, we'd really like to, you know, I want to know, and also it'd be good to just like test Pam's knowledge, because as we said before, she has been in the industry for her whole working career, and it's always good to poke those tricky questions.
Yeah. So a little roundup, everybody. So 6 o'clock Sunday evening. We're going to talk about South Africa, which is really going to be very interesting. And then next Thursday, the Henri Bourgeois, Petit Bourgeois from Sancerre, and the Urbina Riojas from Rioja at 7 o'clock next Thursday. You can order from us anytime at Hannibal Brown. You can give us a ring anytime. We like talking. Ask us a tricky question. Love a tricky question.
And don't forget, Sunday, 6 o'clock, we're going to have a little South African showdown. So maybe we'll get a few people to sign in from South Africa. Maybe even we might even be able to get.
Well, we are in Wimbledon.
One of our producer friends.
Wimbledon, Putney, Earlsfield. It's a big South African area, and
we're in South Africa.
Yeah, we are really. Yeah. So let's get some South Africans tuning in. Okay.
So hope that's been a little bit insightful. Hope you guys have enjoyed the wine and canapé combination. Thank you all for making the effort to cook and make the pairing, because it really does make a difference, and I hope you can see that especially from the Chardonnay. That's always the winning combination.
Yeah. Okay.
And thank you all for coming once again.
Oh, we've got another question. Is cheese available? Well, our awesome cheese. We generally only do awesome cheese around about the period. And awesome cheese, because awesome in name, awesome by nature. We only do the best. But I have to say, the awesome Winston, if we can get it, it would work perfectly with that Casa del Bosque.
Nice, strong, creamy cheddar.
But I will get back to you and I'll let you know. And if it is, we'll pop a note up on the website. But I don't even know where they're actually manufacturing at the moment. They
We'll
might be
find out,
manufacturing
we'll
some
let you
pure
know.
alcohol for cleaning. Who knows?
Maybe we'll do the wine and cheese pairing. Not for next week, but maybe the week after we'll do just wine and cheese, because at the end of the day,
yeah.
combination.
And who knows? Might have a haircut by next week. Oh no, that's not going to happen, is it?
No, might have long shoulder length hair by that point. So look, cheers, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Yep.
Finn says thank you, and sorry he got a bit bored this week, but you know, being outside, there's so many distractions.
There you go, big guy. There you go.
But it's really great to see you all. We hope you've enjoyed it, and see you on Sunday.
See you Sunday, 6 o'clock.
Cheers,
Take
everybody.
Care. Bye.
Bye. Say bye, Finn.
Bye, 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 bye. That's it. It's a wrap.
We'll just wait for our goodbyes. Yes to wine and cheese. Stuff. That's
People don't want to go.
Maybe we can do the awesomes.
Oh, by the way, YouTube work this week. Sorry, we'll sort it out next week.
We'll be on YouTube next. Okay, cheers everyone. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.